just got a huge blast of wind and I have the awning out. I was preparing for rain. Echo, yes. Because we got some rain last night, so I just kind of left the awning out. But you never know when the wind's gonna kick up. And I was in there in the bathroom, and then you just start hearing the awning shake, like rattling kind of, and then the whole trailer kind of shifts because the wind is catching the awning and trying to rip it off. Like in this moment right now, it's kind of okay, but these gusts are coming up, so I do need to put it in. So just to kind of show you, like it's tilted right now because of the rain. So, you know, the rain would run off here, and I even had to dig like a little trench because I was getting kind of flooded in here because the water all drained off down in that corner. But these arms up here, see how it rattles like that? You can hear that? They get kind of loose because the only thing holding it in place is this one little screw right here. So what I have to do every once in a while, if it's kind of windy, is I have to come out here, loosen this, and then pull on this bar, stretch it all out, and then tighten that back down really tight. And then that'll keep it from rattling. Then I can kind of raise it back up to its proper height, because it has to be at the right height so I can open the door. If this side is any lower, then I can't open the door very far, you know. And then I risk tearing the awning with the door. Now the other thing is this ribbon here. This is what you use to lower and raise the awning. And so normally, like, I just kind of wrap it around here and then I leave it dangling down. So this part is kind of dangling down here to kind of remind me that there's something here. So I'll hit my head less on this thing. Actually, yeah, I'm pretty good now. I don't really hit my head too often on it. So that's kind of like a little warning. Also, I use this as like my windsock. It kind of, I can see this thing flowing out here from inside the trailer. Because right now all the windows are closed because it's kind of cold. It's not too bad, but it's kind of cold. And also, if you don't have this thing tied up, and this is going to be the way on most awnings, is this strap is just kind of free flowing. It'll come all the way down here to this end, and once it gets to this end, there's nothing stopping it from flying off. And so then you don't have a way to close the awning again because you need to hold this strapped in order to close the awning. So when it's windy, the wind will just blow this thing right off. So you have to have this tied up. And as with two people, you know, you can kind of hold the awning in place, but with just one person, what I need to do is I need to wait for a lull in the wind before I bring the awning up. And I got to hold onto this strap so it doesn't get loose on me. And then I'll lower this down here. It's not a big deal having to put the awning up, you know, because of the wind. But if it's windy, if it's really, really windy, then it'll be a real pain in the butt. And that's why I'm rolling tape on this right now, because you might see a disaster, you know, it's possible. So now that I have that arm down, this end of the awning here is totally loose. Like if the wind comes, then this thing can just come up like this. And that's the disaster that could potentially happen. And I can't hold it down over here because I have to be over here on this end to loosen it. So what you want to do is, if it's going to get windy, if it's starting to get windy, that's when you bring the awning in. Because if you try to bring it in when it's super windy, it's a pain in the butt, and you have to do it then. So this thing doesn't get like ripped off. And then, so you hit that switch there, then you hold onto this strap to let it up. And everybody's awning is going to be a little bit different how it operates, but you kind of get the swing of it. Some you have to really let slam up there. Mine I kind of control, and I just stand on my step. And then there's a little bit of that strap hanging out so I can pull it back down when I want to open it up again. Now we're in the clear. Now the wind can blow as hard as it wants. It doesn't matter. And these bars are not like locked into place right now. I'll do that before I travel, but in the wind it's fine in this setup. But when I travel, then you lock these bars into place and secure them down so nothing will come swinging out. That's basically it. So we're in the clear now. We're good. The wind will not affect us anymore, except for the bike. Let me show you what I learned with the bike. I came back, I went into town, and I had this cover on, but I didn't secure the straps. It has these straps down here. And I thought, oh, well, it's, it's fine. But what happened was it was pouring rain and it got really windy. And so the cover had basically come off of the bike, so the bike got pretty wet. So I had to dry it out like the next day in the sun. And that's because I didn't secure the straps. I learned how the straps work, and they just kind of go around the tire. And that keeps it in place. So far, like, I do like this cover. It's, it's a cheap bike cover, but it is waterproof. I think these, I do have to be careful. Like, I don't want to, I just heard it kind of stretching. It's thin, it's not a thick bike cover. If the chair gets wet, it's not a big deal. I can also throw the chair in the bed of the truck, if I want to keep it dry. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll fold up the chair and I'll just throw it under the trailer. That works actually really well too. You get spiders in it, and of course in quartzite, then you'll get scorpions in it, so it may not be the best solution for that. But when you're looking at skies like this, there's a real potential for rain. And I don't know if you can leave generators out in the rain, but I never run it in the rain. That's why it was under the awning, because last night it was raining and I needed to run the generator. So I keep it dry. You can get covers for the generator, which I don't have. That probably would be a pain in the butt when it gets windy. Just another thing to manage. So I just put it under the awning. It's more noisy, when I'm inside the trailer, but it does keep it really dry. So what I have to do now is I need a dry place to put the generator, and it's locked up. So all I do is I put it under the trailer. Usually there's a spot under the trailer with enough clearance so I can store this under here. And that'll keep it really dry. That'll keep it really dry. And then with the power cable that's just kind of laying out here, I throw that under the trailer. There's a lot of real estate under the trailer, and that's the driest place to be. So just throw stuff under there if you can when the rain comes. What do you think, Echo? It's actually warmer today. It's not too bad out here. But we are probably going to get rain. Mr. Echo is not a big fan of the rain. All right, the Dodger Pharmacy saga is about to come to a close. just filling you guys in. The package got delivered today, today's Thursday. So I'll try and upload this tonight. Maybe it'll be Friday when I upload this for you guys. But they got the package. I was checking FedEx all day today, so I got everything loaded up just in case it actually did get delivered. And I even took a shower while I'm waiting around, and then I got a message from FedEx that it got delivered. So I called the place where I'm going to pick it up at, which is like a postal center, postal business, just to make sure that they do have the package. And she's like, yeah, we got the package. So I'm going to go down there and pick it up. So now I'm trying to decide in my mind about water. Do I want to get water? Where do I want to get water? There's a $5 dump in town at a gas station that I can use. They also have free water there. But the gas there is more expensive, so I would rather go to a different place to get gas. So it's just kind of like figuring out the order I want to do things and how much water do I want, how much do I need. I have enough for a couple days. I'll be fine for a couple days, but maybe I want to load up on more water now. Then there's a rest area that's not too far past the $5 dump. That's a free dump, but it's, it's a week into November now, so I'm assuming it's still open, but you never know. It could be totally closed for winter or something like that. And in my notes on Google Maps, it does say that there's water there at that rest area. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is I'm just going to head to that rest area, because then it's free. I can get water and dump. Assuming it's open, then we're all good and I don't have to worry about it. But I could get there and it's closed, and then I've got to change my plans, And since I knew the medicine was going to get shipped the last couple days, I put Dodger back on his full dose of his arthritis medicine, and he's already like walking a little bit better. He seems happier, so I'm really excited about that, really excited. And I'm excited to leave. I always hate leaving places that I dig, and this is one of the spots that I really do dig. I've camped here quite a few times before. It's very quiet, although it's close to the freeway. But man, taking the bike out here on these roads, I went to places that I've never been before. All right, just wanted to fill you guys in on the Dodger pharmacy saga. I didn't want to leave you hanging, and I wanted to let you know that I'm excited. Like, little things like that make me excited. We can leave, and Dodger is going to be fully medicated, and he has an appointment set up in Quartzsite come December, so we'll definitely be down there by then. We're on the road heading to another campsite. I think we're going to end up at a rest area tonight, because we got a little bit late start to the day waiting for Dodger's medicine to come in town, which I picked that up really easily. But it's going to be getting dark here in a couple hours, so we'll probably make it to a rest area that's actually kind of decent as far as sleeping goes, because there's a couple spots I can get where I know only one big truck could get next to us, so I think I can manage it for the night. And I'll have cell reception there at that rest area. And that's only about 100 miles from here. But having just left camp, and we were kind of stuck in that camp for a little over a week, I had, kind of full tanks. Full gray tank, full black tank. So I stopped at this rest area to dump, and I want to show you guys something. You guys let me know what you would do in this situation. You can see that blue spigot there. That has to do with what I want to talk to you about. So let's go take a look at the dump station situation here. And I'm really lucky that there's a dump station here. Like, it makes it really easy and it's free. So I already dumped my tanks, and that process went, really smoothly. Then here is the water spigot. I have some concerns about using this water spigot for drinking water, because it's right next to the dump. So what people will do is, if they're not, running a hose from here all the way into their trailer or their RV to rinse out their tanks, which can cause, people say, like, you can get backwash that way. And so, like, the black water will go back up the hose and then down into the spigot, and plus the threads can get kind of nasty. Some people will actually sanitize the threads before they use them. I've never gone that distance, I've never done that. But here's the thing that does happen is people will take the hose all the time. You pull your hose out. My hose is stored here in this bumper. So you pull your hose out and you use it, and then it gets all nasty. You use the gray water afterwards to kind of flush the hose, and that gets it, fairly clean, but it's still going to be kind of nasty, and it could be stinky. So a lot of people want to rinse their hoses. I don't usually worry about it too much, because I feel like the gray water cleans out the hose enough. And plus, a lot of times we're in dry situations, so the hose in here will dry out really, really quickly. But then to rinse the hose, what people will do is they'll use this spigot here, which kind of makes sense, because a lot of dump stations have spigots to rinse your hose out. Now, sometimes there'll be a hose provided, and sometimes there'll be a sign that says, this one's for your tanks, and then this one is for fresh drinking water. This one, there's no sign here at all. So what people will do is they'll take their hose, and they'll take, imagine this is the hose right here. They'll put it right here, and then rinse out their hose that way and run it into the dump, so it'll drain off into the dump. But then your nasty hose is like touching here, and this is exactly where I'm going to put my fresh drinking water hose, and I would put a filter on here, but I'm just not that desperate for water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till I get to a place that has water that I feel safer about, drinking. Now, you guys know that the water that I hold in the tank here, I don't drink that water. I can filter it if I need to and drink it, but because the tank is exposed down there, so it gets like algae, it gets kind of nasty. I do use that water to brush my teeth though, and that's what I was thinking about. Which I guess is not that big of a deal. I probably wouldn't get sick, but still, it's just kind of gross thinking about that. So I'm going to avoid this water. All my drinking water I keep in the truck. And right now I have plenty of water, especially since we're going to be at a rest area for the night. I'm going to have to leave there anyway, the next morning. So I only need water for basically a day. And I have about 7 gallons in here that are full of drinking water. So these all have fresh drinking water in them. And then I have one of these blue jugs is still full of water. These ones are all empty in here. So I have enough water. It's not hot, so I'm not too worried about it. We're not in the desert yet or anything like that. And plus this allows me to kind of travel really lightly because I have hardly any water in the trailer. And I have I have about 12 or 15 gallons here in the truck. So that reduces my weight by, a couple 100 pounds at least. Let me know what you guys do when you get to places that have a spigot right next to the dump station. It just kind of sketches me out. It just does. I mean, if you see what people do at the dump stations, and, it's not always pretty.